Who did you just see walking towards the front door area?
Myself.
And what's happening with the vehicle that you were just left at this point?
It's being moved to the other side of the pumps.
And it's at 8:02:51. And who's moving it to the other side of the pumps?
Edwin.
And what is it that you're doing inside the store now?
Purchasing cigarettes.
And what observations did you just make with respect to the front door area?
Edwin entering.
And where were you when he went into the store?
Inside of the store.
And do you know where the manager was, or the owner?
He was behind the counter.
Now, direct your attention to this area of the Best of Boston. What vehicle do you see leaving the lot there?
The vehicle, the Jeep.
Okay. And who was driving the Jeep when it left?
Edwin.
And direct your attention to this particular piece of footage, sir. Accessing Exhibit 1. You recognize the individual who just walked through that screen.
Yes.
Exhibit 1, just ask you to focus on the monitor, sir. And just for the record, I'm accessing the Casper file. And I'll ask you to watch the monitor. Can you note the time right here, sir?
4:21 a.m.
For the record, it's 4:41. Have you seen that clip prior to today, sir?
Yes.
And I want to show you this particular document to ask you if you recognize it, sir.
Yes.
And who, if anyone, first of all, what do you have in front of you, sir? What do you see here?
A picture of Edwin.
And what is the timestamp in the lower left-hand corner?
4:41 a.m.
And the picture that you see of Edwin, is that consistent with the area where you just saw on the monitor?
Yes.
And how did you mark this particular photograph, sir?
With my name.
And what was the date?
8/9/13.
And whose name did you write on there?
Edwin.
And that's who you identified in this particular photograph?
Yes.
May this be marked as the next numbered exhibit you're on. Yes. Sir, I'm going to play a little bit more video from the same folder. I'm just going to ask you to note, can you see the time from where you are right there, sir?
Yes.
What time do you see?
4:56 a.m.
And just watch the monitor, sir. And who did you see in the monitor?
Edwin.
Do you recognize this particular photograph, Mr. Lee? Have you seen this prior to today?
Yes.
And what do you have in front of you there?
A picture of Edwin.
And did you sign and date it?
Yes.
And what was the date that you signed that?
8/9/13.
And does it correspond with the footage that you just saw on the monitor?
Yes.
May this be marked as the next number exhibit you're on?
73.
I'm going to continue on with Exhibit 1. I'm going to go to a different folder, Bell's Market. And who did you see on the monitor, sir, if anyone, that you recognize?
Edwin.
I want to show you a sequence of 2 photographs, Mr. Lee, and ask you if you recognize, starting with this one, if you recognize what that photograph is.
Edwin.
Okay, and whose name appears on the lower left-hand corner of this particular still photograph?
My name.
And what's the date?
8/9/13.
And relative to this particular photograph, first of all, going back to the first one, what's the time stamp on the bottom there?
5:15.
And showing you the second photograph, sir, who do you recognize in that photograph?
Edwin.
And whose name and signature appears in the lower left-hand corner?
My name.
And Who else's name did you write there?
Edwin.
May these respectively be marked as the next two exhibits, Your Honor. May these four exhibits be posted to the jury, Your Honor? And just showing you this particular photograph, do you recognize anyone in this photograph, sir?
Yes.
And who do you recognize?
Edwin.
And what is he wearing in the photograph, sir?
Hat and a black tank top.
And would you just sign and date this and write his name on the back of that particular photograph, sir? Sign and date it. And could you write his name on the back, please? And this particular photograph, to the extent that you just looked at a video clip, does it correspond with the footage that you just saw?
Yes.
May this be marked as the next number exhibit, Your Honor.
77.
I want you to focus on the monitor for a moment, sir. I'm going to access the Besky's folder. And do you recognize anyone on that video, on the monitor, sir?
Yes.
And who do you recognize?
Edwin.
Do you recognize the photograph I'm placing in front of you, sir?
Yes.
And who, if anyone, do you recognize out of that photograph?
Edwin.
And could you just write that on the back with your signature and today's date, please? the photograph that you just looked at where you identified Edwin, does that correspond with the video that you just looked at?
Yes.
Can this be marked as the next number? This one was not marked.
Exhibit 17.
And Mr. Lee, another clip to show you from exhibit number 1. That's labeled robbery variety. And who, if anyone, do you recognize from that particular video clip?
Edwin.
And just handing you this photograph for a second, sir, ask you to take a look at it. Do you recognize anyone in that photograph?
Edwin.
And does that correspond with the video that you just looked at on the monitor, sir?
Yes.
And it's marked as the next number that you're on.
Yes.
Exhibit 17.
And I'm just playing now from the same clip. The counter is at 12:38 going forward. You see that okay, Mr. Lee?
Yes.
And who, if anyone, do you recognize in that video clip?
Edwin.
Showing you this particular photograph, sir. Do you recognize anyone in that still photograph?
Yes.
Who do you recognize, sir?
Edwin.
And does that correspond with the video that you just looked at on the monitor?
Yes.
Can this be marked as the next number that you're on?
Yes.
Exhibit number 80.
And lastly, sir, as it relates to the videos, exhibit number 1, photo marked Domino's. Who, if anyone, did you recognize out of that video clip?
Edwin.
And just showing you this last photograph, Mr. Lee. Do you recognize anyone in that still photograph?
Edwin.
And does that correspond with the video clip that you just looked at?
Yes.
And just be marked as the next number, exhibit 1.
Yes.
Exhibit 81.
want you to take a look at this board I'm going to hold up, and I want you to look at three photographs. First, starting with the upper left-hand photograph. Do you recognize anyone depicted in that photo?
Yes.
Who do you recognize?
Yes.
And lastly, directing your attention to the right side of this board, the top right and the photo right below it. Do you recognize anyone depicted in those two photographs?
Yes.
Who?
Edwin.
In which ones?
The two you just pointed at.